getting insanely frustrated.
Yeah, I'll say this though. I think Daisy is such a joy to watch for me that I'm okay with it. Where it was like Heather or like Katie or even like Hannah or Kate. I don't know, just something about it was a very Daisy focused episode, but I love those no
Yeah,
matter what,
no,
really. Yeah.
that makes sense. I feel like there's been a lot of episodes this season that were just so like Gary heavy for a little while. Obviously, like Ashley heavy. That it's nice to get back to kind of the core,
Yeah.
right? So getting back to the
Gabriella
goat.
heavy too.
Yeah. So we're kind of getting back to like what actually Below Deck's supposed to be, right? Like, so it's about to be like these people working on board, and we watch them while they work. That's what makes Below Deck different than every other kind of Bravo show.
Yeah.
So this is about these people while they work. And so, yeah, there's like the drama that happens and we love them going out, but we're getting back to the core of what this is. Although these crew members, these guests kind of suck. So Sean, anything else about these charter guests before we kind of go on to, I know we have a new guest, or we've got Barnaby coming on. So
yes, we do. Yeah. He, John, what's your first impression of Barnaby?
He seems like a guy who's got a good head on his shoulders, in the sense that he knows what he's like. I don't know if he's a hard worker, but I know he knows his stuff around a sailboat. So I would think he's a hard worker, because you don't get to be whatever they were, like they're like racing for like national champions. And what was it, New Zealand?
Yeah.
So like you don't get that you don't do that by accident. But obviously he mentioned that he was on like Nectar Island? For like I think Richard Branson owns that, and so like
oh wow, okay,
yeah, so like guests go there, and like it's really secluded, and he was teaching them like how to like surf and things like that. So I don't think he's had a hard upbringing, but that's not a knock on him. That's just
was he was born in Singapore? Did he say that? I know he's from England.
Yeah.
But
maybe it was Singapore. It wasn't New Zealand.
Well, anyone who spent time in Singapore, I'm just assume is rich. So, very tall guy. I thought he was like John Luke tall, but I think when you're sitting next to Gary and Glenn, everyone looks tall, and you're like over 6 foot. It's like, wow, that guy, tall guy. I think he's like probably 6'5".
It's pretty tall.
I think so. I feel like he's going to be kind of a background character. I have a good vibe about him, though. I don't know if the girls are that into him. Kelsey's not.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. She might not be Daisy's. He might not be Daisy's type.
I don't think Ashley's going to ditch Gary for him.
She doesn't have Gary, but that's besides the point. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I mean, obviously after the drinks are flowing a little bit, maybe minds change. We'll see. But he may be a background character, but he might just be a fun guy. So we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, I liked having him around, and he's good at his job.
Yeah. So maybe it's a little bit more Gary just hanging out, flirting with Daisy. If that's what we get, I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sean, do you want to talk about the stew that is coming on? So we saw some like next episode on Below Deck, and we saw so her name's Scarlett Bentley, which I don't think it's a fake name, but it sounds like the most fake name I've ever heard. I think it's
real. Yeah. Confirmed real.
It's confirmed. We did some research. It just
seems like a fake
name.
I talked to the Arkansas birth certificate department.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a cool name then. It's a cool name. We don't know anything about her yet. I think she's an Instagram influencer. Just by looking at her Instagram. I don't know. She might bring a lot of drama. Let's put it that way. Just based on my guess, I think Gary's going to be into her. I'm not sure if she's worked on boats before, but looks like she's taken a lot of photos on boats. So she's got experience. But I don't know if she'd be working on this yacht if it wasn't on television. I guess let's put it that way. But maybe she comes on. She has a huge resume and tons of experience. So we'll see what happens. But she's a good looking cat.
She is. I think, especially with like the third stew job, that is sort of a like an entry level job. So it's kind of no different from someone trying to break into acting, getting a job as like a waiter
Got
or
it.
bartender or like busser or host or something. So that's probably true, but I think that is probably just common, even if they're not filming Below Deck, where you just get someone
Yeah.
who's not there. She's not going to become a chief stew one day. Yeah. So Jenna,
Like you literally just need to like fold like third stew.
yeah,
Depending on what it is.
I
Yeah.
think. Oh, so Jen, I think she might be a good rival to Ashley. And Jen, one thing we should point out, beginning of this episode, Daisy tells Ashley that the new girl coming on might be her second stew. There, like Ashley doesn't immediately move up the food chain now that Gabby's gone.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because sometimes you do see that like the person who's there the longest automatically goes to second stew, But
Yeah,
I think Daisy's being real because Ashley really doesn't have that much experience other than the last couple of weeks and whatever she had before, maybe 1 year. So if Glenn gets somebody with 4 years experience, then yeah, you can't really have her at third stew. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I don't know. Like just by looking at her Instagram, I couldn't see anything, like I said, like working boats related, but definitely on boats. So she's got her sea legs, I guess.
yeah. From Arkansas, I got that information,
Okay.
and currently lives in San Diego.
All right. That's a high influencer location. I feel like San Diego.
Oh yeah. So where are the big towns for that? Miami has got to be number one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're all on water, but it's San Diego, Miami's
LA.
really big, LA, New York. Even though New York, I feel like isn't that big though. I mean, New York's huge, but like for like influencers, I feel
Well,
like
I think that's where like fashion influencers are there.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Denver, there's probably a few.
No, they just wear like hats.
Yeah.
In Denver, like I don't know. I don't really see too much. But whatever. We're gonna give Scarlett a run here.
Exactly.
She has 10.2 Instagram followers so far.
10.2
thousand or 10,000. Yeah.
Okay.
She's got 0.2. I'm rounding down. Now she's got 10,000 followers. Do you think she ends up at 20 by the end of the season, Sean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So it's good for her brand. We'll see. What else we got, Sean? Anything else on this? I got a bunch of honorable mentions.
Oh, I don't know if this is what you had. Kelsey kind of messes up.
Yeah, not a good episode for Kelsey. So I don't know this whole thing. You and I don't know about these like small paddle boats or sailboats, whatever they were, but like apparently there's a pin that probably holds the rudder to the boat, and Gary's like, hey, don't drop that. And she drops it. So she's just had a poor episode. And so I guess it's good that Barnaby's here, and maybe Kelsey's thinking that she can just slack off a little bit because now that Barnaby's here, it's not all on her, but I don't think Gary's really happy with it right now.
Yeah. She also working a little slower than usual.
Yeah.
A little slower than usual. And Gary did tell her, hey, you have to put that together on the swim platform. Now, I'm not sure what those things are because I thought they were a parasail, but that's not what a parasail is. It's just like a small sail, right?
Yeah. It's like a lifeboat with like a sail on it, basically.
Yeah. I've never seen those before. Yeah. But Kelsey, yeah, she kind of drops the ball, pun intended.
Yeah. There you go.
Also, is she a little bit too chill about it, or like, hey, look how cute this is, guys? I dropped the pin.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It really wasn't a good look. Like, I think she's gonna be fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gary like kind of talks to her after the charter. I had a couple here, Sean. So one of my honorable mentions, actually I have a lot. So I brought up that like they sailed this episode and every charter guest was sleeping, which I feel like if Glenn really wants to show the charter guests an experience, he would have like, I don't know, maybe woken them up or something. But I do love that every time that they sail, there's like these cutaways to like the entire boat, like everything's swinging open, like doors swinging open, drawers swinging open. Like I swear this boat wasn't actually meant to have a sail on it. They just like added one after the fact. Like nothing seems to like latch, lock, whatever it is, but it's just kind of funny. The only thing I was missing in this episode were like the pots and pans going everywhere that we usually get.
Yeah, you need the loud noises.
Yeah.
Way more dramatic that way.
Yeah. And then Sean, I had another one. So I know we talked about it last episode. We didn't really like address it though. So Ashley's comfortable enough to joke about the time she had sex with Gary and Gary didn't remember it. So I know like you and I were on like social media and a couple listeners or at least followers, you know, kind of said like, you know, how bad of a thing this was, and you know, just really kind of labeling what Ashley did. And you know, Sean, I know you and I had like a, you know, now 2 weeks to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And candidly, you know what, I've gotten to the point where it's like, yeah, it's not a good look, and you know, at the same time Gary doesn't seem too worked up about it. And so like if he was upset about it in any way, then he should voice that. And I think that should be kind of known to everybody. But I don't know, Gary just kind of seems like fine the next day. And I don't know if anything's going to come up in the future, but at least as of now, nothing, you know, it didn't seem to impact Gary negatively, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you there, John. Yeah, so we're referring to obviously 2 weeks ago when Ashley and Gary have sex. And yeah, a few like there's kind of a lot of people online and some of our listeners that are kind of labeling what Ashley did like you know, sexual assault. And yeah, John, I kind of agree with you. Like a couple of things. We didn't see what happened in the guest cabin. Well, like we hear stuff, right? But we didn't see anything that happened. I know that they were both drunk. I think Gary even said it this episode too. I don't really think either was blackout. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but Gary doesn't seem blackout to me. But John, as you said, like he doesn't seem upset about what happened. It just he like thinks it's funny, or yeah, that's all. I'll leave that to Gary to be upset about it or accuse Ashley of something. But I don't feel comfortable doing that based on what I saw. You know, like I
agree. Yeah, I agree. I think you nailed it in the sense like you'll leave it up to Gary to be upset about it, right? And like it's not, you know, whatever happened, he seems fine with, you know, the whole thing. So
yeah,
you know, we're just gonna continue to do our below deck recaps and go from there, right?
Yeah, that's up to Gary. That's between Gary and Ashley, really. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, serious issue, but it's a reality show, and also like none of the other cast members seem
like worried about that situation.
Worried for Gary or anything. Yeah, so but as we said, we'll leave it up to Gary to be upset about it.
Yeah,
before we get upset.
Yeah, Sean, in a complete 180, a non-serious honorable mention. I do appreciate that now that Summer House is over, I don't get the promos for Summer House where that blonde guy just yells, "I still got it." That was like the most annoying part of Below Deck for the last like 6 episodes. It's just been that stupid promo.
Yeah, they're doing the reunion right now, I believe. I'll watch it tomorrow.
I watched like 5 minutes of that. I feel like the world's out of bronzer after that episode. Like everyone just went like 9 shades darker in the reunion. But
if you'll let me, any of our listeners that also listens or watches Summer House, here's my take on the season.
Okay,
pretty good season. They didn't replace like the entire cast though. It ended with Kyle and Amanda getting married. I think that's the end of that chapter for this group of friends, and just start over. like hire, like find 10 new people in their like late 20s and early 30s to get a summer